The story begins in a mountainous region in Norway called the Dovre Mountain peaks, where we see a young girl named Nora. She is trying to climb the mountain, encouraged by her father, whose name is Tobias. He has reached the summit before her and is cheering her on to reach it too. Nora successfully climbs the mountain and finally reaches her father. They both sit on the mountain peak, watching the Dovre Mountain peak. During this time, she asks her father the reason for naming the mountains this way. He tells her that 1,000 years ago, trolls were still alive in Norway, but they went extinct after a while and turned into mountains, which have been called the Dovre Mountain peaks ever since. However, Nora doesn't believe her father. She tells him that these are all fictional stories and unreal things. He asks her to look at the mountains in front of her and believe that she will see the trolls. She agrees, and when she looks, she is shocked because she feels that the mountains have moved and something resembling a human face came out of them. But she tells him that she still doesn't believe him because these are unreal imaginations. However, he does not get tired and continues to tell her about the trolls, feeling very certain of his words, as if he had seen them with his own eyes. But Nora at that time is too young to comprehend anything he tells her. After 20 years pass, we see Nora now grown up. Nora is working as a geologist on the coasts of Norway. She is very good at paleontology and is famous everywhere in Norway. This is after she decided to live alone away from her father because his behavior had become strange. In addition, he had entered a psychiatric facility for a period of time, and she had become very afraid of his behavior. At that moment, the site manager calls her. His name is Sigurd. Sigurd tells her that they will return to their homes once again because they have failed in their mission and have not been able to find any fossils. Moreover, the money they have is almost finished, but she surprises him and tells him that she has found a fossil buried underground, and thus their mission will have succeeded and they will not have lost the money they spent. Sigurd tells her that he was confident in her from the beginning because she is the only one who will be able to succeed in this mission because she is very talented. He tells her that he wishes her father were beside her at a time like this, but he hopes that he can compensate for her father's place because her father's mental condition is very bad and his behavior is irresponsible. Furthermore, he has become a source of threat to his daughter and is unable to see her or even talk to her. This has been since her mother's death. Added to this is her fear of him, which made her decide to separate from living with him. At this time, there is a group of workers on the Dovre Mountain peak. They are digging a tunnel so the train can pass through it. While they are digging this tunnel, a group of people is demonstrating because they want to preserve their environment, and they believe that the government is destroying the environment. In their demonstration, they demand that the workers stop digging and leave the mountains alone. But the workers do not pay attention to them and continue their work normally. They place dynamite everywhere in the mountain to dig the tunnel faster. As soon as the dynamite is set off, an earthquake occurs. They think that it is an earthquake, so they run out. But they do not know that they have awakened a mythical beast from its sleep. Suddenly, an explosion occurs in the mountain, as if a nuclear bomb had been detonated. Two of the demonstrators succeed in recording everything that happened on their mobile phones as a video. The matter reaches the Norwegian government. They quickly send planes to photograph the site to see what it looks like. When the planes photograph what happened, they notice that there are marks on the ground resembling footprints. But they ignore that they are footprints of a huge creature and suspect they are due to the earthquake. They send Nora, the assistant to the Prime Minister, whose name is Andreas, to ask her to help them discover what happened. When Andreas arrives at Nora's location, he tells her that this is a national mission, and moreover, it is the discovery of a lifetime if she can prove that the cause of all this is a mythical beast. Nora immediately agrees to help them, and they move to the Prime Minister's office. When Nora arrives at the Prime Minister's office, she feels that she does not understand why she has come at all or knows what issue he told her about. But she decides to talk with him to understand everything. Nora tells him that if she doesn't understand why she is here, she will leave the place and go. But he brings her into a meeting with the leaders in Norway. They begin to explain to her exactly what happened. A military general, whose name is Colonel Christian Sandvik, tells her that an explosion occurred at the Dovre Mountain peak, but they suspect that what happened is due to an earthquake, so they have brought her today to tell them the reason. He shows her the footprints that the planes photographed. A geologist says that these are just some ground tremors, like earthquakes. But Nora feels that there is something wrong and that these are not earthquakes. Moreover, their shape resembles footprints exactly. Nora suggests that the cause is a mythical beast, but she is unable to determine its type because it must be very huge to leave footprints like these. At this time, the Prime Minister's aide, whose name is Sigrid, enters and tells them that she has succeeded in hacking their mobile phones and retrieving the video they filmed. When she plays the video, they hear a strange sound, as if it is the sound of a wild animal. She asks them to play the video again. When they play the video again, they are able to see the shape of the creature, but they are still unable to determine what exactly it is. They are all shocked at this time by what they are seeing because they had not heard of trolls except in stories. But they trust Nora because her prediction turned out to be correct, and the cause of all this turned out to be a mythical beast. However, they still don't know its type. They decide to let Nora carry out this operation, and they let Andreas help her with this. At this time, in a town called Åndalsnes, a married couple is sitting, having breakfast, and they hear the sound of their dog barking, as if it is warning them of something, but they do not pay attention. Suddenly, they feel an earthquake, as if there is an earthquake in the town. They quickly go down, but they still don't know what caused this. They quickly call the police to save them, but after that, a group of the Norwegian army visits them, and the leader of this group is Captain Christopher Holm, Chris. At the same time, the news reaches the Prime Minister, whose name is Berit Moberg. She quickly sends Nora and Andreas to the town of Åndalsnes to see what happened. When they arrive there, Chris meets them and introduces himself to them. After that, he tells them that they have found footprints, but their size is very large, and he has never seen anything like them before. This is what makes everyone surprised, because they lost the footprints after a small distance from the house, as if the thing that left these tracks had disappeared suddenly. Nora decides at this time to see these footprints in order to start studying them. When she goes to see them, she discovers that this creature does not have any real cells, as if it was made of stone or dirt, because there are no real cells visible in its tracks. But she is still unable to determine its type. At this time, Nora smells a strange odor, and this is the same smell she smelled when she was visiting the mountain when she was young, but she is still unable to determine its source. She decides to visit her father, because he is the only one who will have answers to all these questions. Nora goes to visit her father in the mountain, whose psychological state is very deteriorated. This is what has made him isolated from people since he left the facility, and he refuses to deal with people again. She takes Andreas and Chris with her. On their way to the mountain, Nora suspects that the creature with the footprints might be performing a distraction to mislead them, but she will not be sure until she talks to her father. When they arrive at the place where her father lives in the mountain, she tries to talk to him, but he threatens them with his rifle when he sees the pistol with Chris. But Nora calms them both down and asks her father to talk with him. She begins to tell him what happened. He tells her that it must be a troll from the trolls that were widespread in Norway 1,000 years ago. She tells him that these are all just illusions, and they are just fictional stories that were told to them when they were young. But her father insists on his position and tells her that it is indeed a troll, and he will prove that to her. He gives her a small book containing a lot of information about trolls. He tells her that he discovered one day that trolls do exist, and they had tribes and kingdoms, and were very widespread in Norway 1,000 years ago. He tried to inform the government of the information he reached after 20 years of research, but no one believed him, and they put him in prison for 2 years because they thought he was crazy. They all moved to continue their search for the creature. On the way, he asks them to land the plane in a place in the mountains. He tells his daughter, Nora, that the terrain in this place is different from what he has on the map. She is also surprised because they do not understand what could change the shape of the terrain so quickly. Tobias tells her that there were rocks that weren't in this place, but they are now. At the same time, Nora smells the strange odor she smelled at the Dovre Mountain peak. Although she is scared, she expects that this smell is a sign for her to get closer to reaching the truth. Suddenly, they feel a strange movement around them. When Nora looks to her left, she sees that the rock that was next to her has an eye. She is terrified by what she saw. Suddenly, the rock moves, and she is sure then that this is the troll as Tobias told her, but it is disguised as a rock. They quickly run from the plane to escape from it before it kills them. They film it to send the video they filmed to Berit. When the video reaches her, she is shocked when she sees the troll because this was a myth to them. They had never seen or heard of it except in fictional stories. At this time, she decides to have the army eliminate this troll, and she thinks Nora's work with them is finished here. At the same time, Nora arrives at the nearest army camp and tries to talk to Berit to convince her that she should carry out this mission because she is the one who discovered the troll, and she is the most deserving of eliminating it because she is the only one who knows information about it. But Berit tells her that there is no time for them to experiment and perform tests as she wants, and that the troll is threatening the whole country, and they must eliminate it as quickly as possible before it kills anyone. She tells her that she wished she could complete her research on the troll, but she decided to leave this matter to the army to eliminate it as quickly as possible. Nora loses hope of eliminating the troll herself, so she is forced to listen to Berit, but curiosity makes her ask Chris to go with him. He agrees because he has started to admire Nora. They all go to a town called Honefoss to intercept the troll's path and eliminate it. As soon as the troll appears in front of them, they fire many bullets at it, but it is not affected and continues walking normally. They start firing at it from tanks, but it is still not affected, as if it is not being hit. But at this time, it starts to get angry and starts to attack them. They quickly run away from it and hide behind a rock so it doesn't see them. But it smells the scent of the blood of one of them, and it pulls him from among them and eats him. They all quickly run before it eats them too. But Tobias stops and tries to control the troll. Surprisingly, he succeeds in doing this. It appears that the troll was kind and did not intend to hurt any of them. It just wants to defend itself because they are attacking it. Tobias tries to talk to it to understand how it appeared at all and how it came back to life after all these years. But at this time, there is a tank standing on the side of the road, and it fires again at the troll. The troll turns to step on it. While it is turning its body, it hits Tobias, and he falls to the ground. After it steps on the tank with its foot, it looks at Tobias with a sad look, as if it is apologizing to him for hitting him. It continues its way after that. Tobias's condition at this time is very bad because of the hit he took. He starts to give up the ghost, and he keeps repeating one word only, which is Sinden. But his daughter does not understand what he is saying. Nora bids him farewell for the last time, and he dies. After they bury him, Nora recalls her memories with him and remembers all the adventures they had in the mountains when she was young, and his stories to her about the trolls. It appears to us that the only thing that helped Nora get over her mother's death and the strength of the relationship between her and her father at that time. But she was forced to move away from him because his mental condition was not good. And this was posing a danger to her, which is why she decided to move away from him. But in reality, she wished she could spend her life next to him because she loves him and because she would learn everything from him. At this time, she remembers the book that Tobias had sent her, which was talking about the troll. She quickly gets the book to read it. When she reads it, she discovers that the troll is bothered by the sound of bells. She gets an idea of how to eliminate it. She informs Berit of her plan, but she rejects it because she thinks that these are just illusions, and they certainly won't be able to eliminate the troll through bells. But after many attempts, she agrees. They hang huge bells on the warplanes and intercept the troll's path to eliminate it. They keep spinning these bells, and they actually succeed in bothering it because it gets angry from the sound of the bells. But unfortunately, the troll is standing at a family park, and this will threaten the lives of many people. The troll begins to attack the planes and throws them away from it. While it is throwing one of the planes, it falls on a young child, but the troll manages to catch it before it falls on him. It appears that the troll is indeed kind and does not want to hurt anyone. It leaves the plane to fall on the young child. It begins to attack the rest of the planes and eliminates them, except for Nora's plane. Nora returns to the government headquarters again and asks Berit to give her one more chance, but she refuses and tells her that the army will carry out this mission. She tells her that they were about to cause the deaths of a large group of people today, but they succeeded in escaping before the troll killed the people who were in the park. She warns her that the day could have been bad. Nora decides that she will return to her normal work and forget the whole troll issue. At this time, Berit holds a meeting with the leaders in Norway, and Andreas is with them in the meeting. While he is sitting, talking with them in the meeting, he runs after Nora and tells her that he is ready to help her eliminate the troll. Nora agrees and gets into the car with him. On the way, she tells him the word that Tobias kept repeating before he died. He tells her that this is the name of the royal guard's custodian. She asks him to take her there quickly to find out why her father was saying his name. When they arrive at the royal palace, the guards refuse to let them in and threaten them that if they don't return to the car, they will shoot at them. But suddenly, an old man appears behind them and is able to recognize Nora. He knows that she is Tobias's daughter. He tells her that he is Sindin, whom her father was talking about. He tells her that he will show her one of Norway's secrets. He takes her with him to the palace vault. He shows her a very large grave for huge creatures from the troll family. He tells her that this was a kingdom for one of the troll kings. When the Norwegians eliminated them, they built the Norwegian royal palace above their kingdom. At this time, an idea occurs to her, which is that the troll is looking for this grave to live with the rest of its family. And this is certainly what makes it look sad, because it feels lonely and is looking for the rest of its family. She decides to help the troll reach the grave instead of killing it or discovering another way to kill it. At this time, Sindin tells her that her father was right when he was convinced of the existence of trolls because he saw this grave before. But the government had to hide this matter to preserve its image. And that is why they imprisoned Tobias and tortured him so he wouldn't tell anything of what he saw. Nora gets very upset when she hears this, and she feels very sorry for her father because he faced great difficulties in his life. But he is now dead, and she won't even be able to apologize to him for her distance from him. But she decides to make him proud of her. She notices that these skulls burn from light. She remembers her father's words to her when she was young, when he told her that trolls burn from sunlight. She gets an idea of how to eliminate the troll. She calls Chris to ask him to help her with the mission. Chris agrees. Nora takes a skull from the skulls that are in the grave to attract the troll's attention to it. At the same time, they decide to drop a nuclear bomb on the troll to eliminate it forever. But Sigrid hacks their system and disables it to help Nora too. During this time, the troll sees the skull and runs after it to take it. Nora keeps driving on her way, and the troll is running after her. But the rope she tied the skull with breaks, so the skull falls to the ground. And the troll takes it and discovers that it is the skull of one of its family members. It is deeply affected by this, and it appears sad because it is the only troll that turned into a mountain while the rest of its family died. But the skull falls from its hand to the ground and breaks. It screams a very loud cry of sadness and gets angry because the skull broke. It decides to attack Nora. It runs after her car and destroys the road behind her. It throws other cars at her to stop her until they reach Chris's location. Nora tells Andreas to jump out of the car quickly. It comes to her turn too to jump, and she succeeds in jumping before the troll reaches her. But it sees her and decides to step on her to kill her. Suddenly, Chris turns on the lights of the cars he gathered, and this is Nora's plan to burn the troll with light. When Chris turns on all the spotlights, they actually succeed in hurting it, but it doesn't die. At this time, the Minister of Interior, whose name is Frederick Markussen, discovers that Sigrid is the one who disabled the missiles. He threatens her that he will imprison her when they finish the operation. She slaps Frederick on his face because his attitude is provocative, and all he cares about is killing the troll in any way. At this time, Nora feels sorry for the troll and remembers that it is a kind creature and that it tried to save more than one person. That is why she decides that she will not kill it. She stops all the spotlights that were working and tells the troll to leave them and return to the mountain, and they will not hurt it. She tells it that it was kind and lonely, but if it keeps walking in human cities like this, they will kill it. That is why it must return to the mountain once again, and they will not do anything to it then. It appears that the troll understands her words and decides to return to the mountain. However, it is too late at this time because the morning has come out, and the sun comes out and burns the troll due to its light. The troll turns into a rock once again, but this time it will remain a rock because it was burned and died, and it won't be able to come back to life again. Nora sees it as it turns into a rock, and she feels sorry for it because it was a kind creature and did not intend to hurt anyone. Thus, they eliminate the troll forever, and Nora finally succeeds in her mission. Because of her contribution to saving Norway, the government decides to name a rock after her father. She decides at this time to return to her normal life and go out on her missions with her team, unlike Andreas, who will start a new life away from politics altogether. and will start writing his own novels. Just as he used to imagine when he was young, life will finally return to its normal course in Norway after everything that happened. The movie ends. We will meet in a new recap. Thank you for watching.